Mr. Saurabh is strongly inclined towards analytics, machine learning, and big data. Having a wide experience of designing and developing data science advanced analytics solution for complex business problems across different businesses like banking, finance, insurance, telecom, and OTT. He has been the part of a team building process through lateral as well as a campus hiring at some of the India's prestigious institute like Indian Institute of Science, Indian Statistical Institute, and Goa Institute of Management. Also, he is being a mentor as well as a resource person at various institutes. In this knowledge sharing session, let us learn from his personal experience, his journey from a B graduate in information technology to a data scientist. Over to you, Saurabh.
Thank you, Smita. Thanks for the kind introduction. Hello, everyone.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Saurabh.
Yeah. So, guys, you are part of a PGP full time and the ePGP program, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, Smita, Ritin, or someone joining?
Yeah, so admission team is already there. You can start.
Okay, okay. Like, should I start with the presentation or what?
Yeah, you can start with the talk. You
Okay.
can introduce yourself, like how from a B graduate, how did you get come to know about the data science, your journey with ages, and now in experience in the industry.
Okay, okay, okay. So, guys, let's discuss something about myself first, okay, and then we'll discuss about so what are the trends and things, why data science got popular in recent times and everything, and then if you have any doubts or questions from an industry point of view, then we'll try to discuss those. So I did my BE in information technology. Okay, it was like everyone, how engineering goes, everyone knows. We study for the exams overnight and give the exams and yeah, complete it. So after completing my BE, I was looking out for higher studies. Okay, so I was very confused. Where should I go and these things. So while doing my research, which are the good fields which are trending in the market or something, okay, I found data science analytics is one of the field which is very famous, as well as I was also having some of the analytics blend in myself, because everything about data and those things I was very curious with, and I think I thought let's do this. So I joined AG's in I think August 2016 somewhere. Okay, so I joined that completely new in the city and everything. So while doing that, we got a very good opportunity to learn and understand these things while through the faculties and everyone. Okay, and one thing we learned while doing that, it is data science is a very vast field. Okay, so what we were doing, it is just a scratching of the surface. Okay, there is depth of the knowledge which is there in the data science, which we need to learn. Okay, so but in the 9 months of our learning and 3 months of internship, we worked hard, rather than do, doing more classes. Yeah, of course we did classes, but apart from classes, we also spent a lot of time doing assignments, doing various projects, solving our doubt each other doubts, peer to peer learning. We were doing that, and that helped us a lot. While like we were discussing, whenever someone faced any questions, we were discussing among ourselves. We were whenever someone goes for the interview and he faced some if he faced some interesting question, he was mentioning those questions while we discussing ki, yaar, this sir asked me this, or this interviewer asked me this one. So we were doing that helped us a lot while doing that PGP. And this will I'll also suggest you to please do those things. uh, Sit after classes, sit in the institute or anywhere which is possible for you. Okay, do peer-to-peer learning, that will really help you. Okay, and while doing my PGP, I got placed into Open Insights, okay, in Pune, where I got a very good opportunity to learn things, how exactly industry works, how things move in the industry, and I got an opportunity to practically learn those things. I was working with one of the biggest telecom service provider from African region, which is MTN. I worked with them. I worked with Nationwide, which is a bank from UK. Okay, and even the internal big data projects. So that give me very good idea about learning. So and also that time I also got the opportunity to work on a cloud and big data things. Okay, that also helped me a lot in my whole career. Okay, which the exposure which I got in my internship and my early days with Open Insight, it is still helping me with the Spark and those things. Then after Open Insight, I worked I went to Vietnam, so where I worked with Vietnam Bank and Aviva. Okay, so we worked on very interesting projects for them. We also learned a lot of things from career point of view, also life experience point of view, because I was very new in the uh, uh, that country, and learning how to survive and like thrive there. Okay, so we worked on a customer segmentation, learned how banking works there, because we one thing is clear, like data science is a techno-functional role, where you also, it is not just about technology, you also need to learn about the business. So we got the opportunity to I got the opportunity to learn how banking works, insurance works, and we worked there. Okay, and now I'm part of Z5. I think you must be everyone, you must be knowing what is Z5. It is a one of India's leading OTT platform. Okay, so I'm part of consumer analytics team in C5. We try to solve a different consumer related problems, business problems with the data day to day. And OTT is a very evolving field, as you know, because there is a very tough competition in the market and things are evolving day by day. So, and it is very dynamic in nature. So this is very good opportunity for me to learn and explore these things, because we have a data from like 10 to 15 of the tools which fetches the um, terabytes of data daily. Okay, so and handling that data with the big data systems, Spark, Databricks, it is a very good opportunity. So yeah, that is what uh, from my side and my experience point of view. Guys, any questions or anything up till now? Let's keep it very interactive, guys, because it would be easy for me to understand uh, where you are, what are your like how things are for you, and also it will be easy for you also to like understand what are, if you have any specific doubts or something. So let's try to keep it as interactive
Hello.
as possible.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. I would like to ask one question.
Yeah,
That
sure.
what is the real world cycle out there of some data science project?
So,
Like, yeah.
okay. So, Sudhanshu, this is a very good question, and I would say this is kind of a thing which we are not aware while we work in academics. Okay, in academics, what happened exactly? We get some data from Kaggle or somewhere, the CSV dumps. Okay, and we from that time we start working on that, right? And we focus on our end parameters, maybe accuracy or something. Okay, right? But in industry things will change. You need to look at from the data source how it is capturing. Okay, so various tools capture various data. Okay, the various data points. Okay, so how this capturing happens, how it is dumped. Here thing is like in your CSV format or anywhere we are getting the data, it you may need to spend some like 20 or 30%, maybe 50% of time to cleaning the data. But in industry, you may need to invest a lot more time for cleaning the data than building the model. Okay, so data cleaning is a very big task here. And also I have experienced in recent times, whenever you get data from uh, uh, any sites or Kaggle or something, you get the explanations. Okay, but in industry, whenever you get the data, you need to find what are these features, what are the columns are for. Okay, you need to interact with business, you interact with data engineers, you need to interact with the team or that vendor or anywhere, and understand what are these features are. Okay, so here data processing parts consumes a lot of your time. Okay, then uh, building. So after data pre-processing, and then we go for the this one, building and model. Okay, so one more thing which I need to mention you, like here we in academics it may take like maybe 2 or 3 days max to max to build and develop a model. But in industry it takes a lot more time, because we need to take care of the infrastructure and everything, how these things will work, how to deploy, how my data will come, at what frequency my data will come, how this model will perform. Because it is not just about the model when you are working in the industry, it is also about the deploying those, productionize those models. So you need to take care of those things also. Okay, so once you are the model stage, here one more interesting part is that here we give more importance to the actionables rather than accuracy. I can compromise somewhere, like my some of the black box models like random forest or XGBoost, if giving me the 90% accuracy, at the same time logistic or the decision tree is giving me the 80% accuracy, I'll go with that. Why? Because these models will give me the actionables where I can work on those and take actions to improvise the business. Because business doesn't like ki, yeah, this particular user is going to churn. If it is a churn model, if I say this particular user is going to churn, it won't help the business, because there are a lot of moving parts in the business. Okay, here I need to tell that this is particular reason is because this user may churn. There may be like if it is telecom problem, like price or the service or anything. So we need to tell these actionables to the business also. So here, whenever you work with the industry, your interpretability of the model is very much important rather than the accuracy. Okay, of course accuracy is important, but first priority is actionable. And again, and actionable I mentioned you, and then deploying, as I mentioned you earlier, deploying and productionizing these models, automating all the process, it is also one of the important part in this machine learning and model things in the industry, from an industry point of view.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, guys, anything?
So we can have, hi Saurav, this is me, Ratan. Good to see you on this platform again. So I was very much listening to you. So we can have a Q&A session at the end. So why not you start off with your discussion, the talk, and we will have that Q&A sessions once we are done with your session.
Okay.
And meanwhile, you guys, I would request all of you, if you would have any questions on maybe any platform through your login, maybe Zoom or YouTube, you please put your questions right there in front of Saurav, maybe on chat box. So we will pick up the questions. So we will try to not miss any single question that you have got. So we will try to quench the thirst you all have got. I believe that you are quite inquisitive to know a lot from Saurav. So Saurav, please start off with the session. So we'll take the Q&A once we are done with your session.
Okay, of course.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, guys, it is not very extensive. It is just about the how data science field is, why it got important in recent times, and how things are, and how to pursue these things. So this is just a general presentation which I'll share with you. Okay, and if you have any doubts and further, we'll, as Ritin mentioned, we'll discuss in the Q&A session. Apart from that, also we can discuss on this. let me know once my screen is visible.
Yeah, we can see that.
Yes, yeah.
Very much visible. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
very much. Yeah.
So, guys, let's start with the session with Edward Deming's quote, which he mentioned, like, in God we trust, all other brings data. So, in recent times, what happened? Industry is focusing more on the data rather than the intuition or the rather than just on the intuition or the experience of the people which is inside the organization, because data gives you the exact idea what's exactly happening in the organization rather than just focusing on the intuition part of it. Of course it is important, but also data is kind of the key thing which is taking place while decision making in the organization. Okay. So one of another reason is that if you see, I think this is one of the Google's founder mentioned this. I think 5 or 10 years ago. Okay, he mentioned that from 2003 to the from civilized humankind civilization to the 2003, we generated 5 exabytes of data. But today we are generating this 5 exabytes of data in every 2 day. Okay, and this pace is accelerating. Okay, so to get insights, analytics out of this data, understand what is exactly happening. Okay, to take business insights out of that, it is very much important to mine that data, to analyze that data, building a model out of it. Okay, so here's the big data thing comes up. Okay, because handling this data with our traditional system is not easy. Okay, to handle this exabytes of data, it is very much important to we should focus on the big data thing. Okay, where these Hadoop and the Spark things comes up. Okay, so who is so this is about the what is the need and what is the need, what is happening in the industry. Okay, so now who is the data?
Hello. Hello. Saurav, wait. You are not audible. Your voice is not audible.
Saurav, I believe you might have muted your microphone. Can you please check, because we cannot hear you?
We cannot hear you.
Hello, is it audible now?
Yes.
Yeah, I think there was some network issue, I guess. Is it everything is good now?
Yeah, we can hear you and we can see the presentation as well, Saurav. Yes.
Yeah. So guys, if you see what Josh Wills mentioned, this is very in a crisp manner. Who is data scientist? This is very rightly mentioned by him. Okay.
Again, your voice is lost.
Guys, is it good now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll remove my earphones. I think there's some issue with this. So how modern data scientists look like? Because nowadays, previously, and it is not long time back, previously 2-3 years ago, what was happening, data scientist was mainly responsible for building a model. Okay. And apart from that, everything like productionizing those, building that data pipelines, everything was looking, someone was looking for that. Okay. But what happened exactly, in recent times, industries expect, because there are a lot of moving parts in data science projects, right? And industry is expecting data scientists should work on these things rather than someone from other teams, like deploying and building those pipelines. Okay. So if you see, it is now it is very much important for data scientists to work on these things from end to end, from data pipelines to capturing that data, building those data pipelines, building the models, evaluating the models, deploying those models, and like if there are any insights or anything, communicating those with the business. So end to end is expected from data scientists nowadays. Of course you'll get some support or someone, but it is expected from you to work on these things by yourself. Okay. So I think we discussed these things, ki how data science life cycle, data science projects workflow in the industry. So it starts with the capturing of the data, then manage and cleaning of the data. Okay, which majority takes much of the time. Then exploratory data analysis, like we already know how to clean and those things. Then final analysis and reporting. Okay, so final analysis or exploratory data analysis, where your model can be can sit, and then reporting what are the findings or anything which are getting to the business, communicating those insights to the business. And yeah, so what are the different use cases are done like use in the industry? So in e-commerce, you can say identifying consumers, recommending products, analyzing reviews, because we all know that. So whenever you go on the Amazon or Flipkart, whenever you buy something, it will give you the recommendation, people who bought this also bought this one. Okay, so that is kind of a recommendation, and these things in e-commerce works. Okay, even one step ahead, if you go on to any site like Amazon or something, and quickly after that, if you go on the Facebook or somewhere, you will get that particular product's advertisement on your on your home page or somewhere in the social media channels. Then manufacturing, like e-commerce was using this thing from very early days, but I personally think that manufacturing recently started using this meaningfully, because optimizing the process, getting the efficiencies in the process is very much important. Okay, which is a cutting edge for these companies, because in manufacturing there are plenty of the players. Okay, and you can't charge more to consumers here, and it is not that much possible as compared to other industry to charge more. So here, to improve your margins, to reduce your cost, it is very much important to get the efficiencies and the efficiencies in the system. So for that, you can use your machine learning and data science to get the efficiency in the system to reduce your cost structure. Okay, so banking, I have already mentioned you, the customer segmentation, fraud detection, credit risk modeling, customer life cycle value. So these are for these various things, banks are really using this this thing. Okay, so I think you must have heard this example. Whenever you like swipe your credit card in Las Vegas or somewhere, you'll automatically get a call to whether this transaction was happened for you, because while doing the transaction, your location is captured, and it is already found that many of the times these frauds happens at these places. This is kind of a thing which is used in the fraud detection. Okay.
Sir.
Yeah, Jayashree.
Yes, sir. Sir, I just wanted to, bring about into notice that, there is a website named, that is a hotel booking and flight booking website. It is based in Singapore, but then it doesn't, it bypasses the OTP. So how is that possible?
Bypasses.
Like, yeah, it bypasses the OTP system.
I think there are not just that site. I think there are a lot of sites which I think in international there are a lot of sites which bypasses the OTP. Okay, so OTP is kind of a thing which is
actually. Yeah, so like, why don't I was very curious when I came across such kind of transactions, and I was wondering if like why in India it is not used, and why in Indian industry it is not still in use, and why in international industry it is so much into use.
Hello, Jayashree, can you just repeat the question, please?
So I just meant to ask you, like, why in Indian industry it is not that much into use. I understand that there are privacy policies and all of that, but then while those things happen in an international transaction, why don't we frequently use that kind of?
Jayashree, your voice is breaking somewhere.
Let me repeat his question. Can you hear me, Saurav?
Yeah, it is clear.
Network drop is there, I believe, Jayashree, in your area. So what he meant to ask was sort of, so there are certain websites she meant to ask, like Agoda is the website I believe she might be referring to.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and there might be other websites, like if somebody would be associated with any Sony PlayStation or any kind of websites. So if you are purchasing anything from these websites, maybe any games, or maybe you are booking for any hotel, or maybe anything like flight booking. So they do bypass these process of OTP. But why in India still most of the websites, so they do ask for the OTPs, and why it has not been implemented in India yet? So is there any?
Okay.
This is what I thought.
Yeah. I think this is more to do with the compliance. Okay, so because every country is governed with the compliance with their central banks. Okay, so from my understanding, it is based on the compliance thing, where our RBI mandates our banks to do these things. But nowadays there are some systems which are coming, which are not fully dependent on just on OTP. Because if you see, I think I have saw this, the Karur Vysya Bank, KVB issues one of the tool which is where you will get dynamic numbering at every time, and you need to enter that particular number while doing your transactions. Okay, so it is not just so there are a lot of things which are coming, but it is, I think from my understanding, it is more to do with the compliance rather than the technology right now.
Oh, okay. So I just want, like, my question basically was, like, you are in the industry right now. So is industry progressing towards that? Payment like ZEE5 as well. Okay, it is not just being used in India, right? So if somebody opts to buy a subscription, or let's say internationally, if somebody opts to buy a subscription, so is the industry looking forward to it right now at this stage?
Okay. I think I'm not that much permitted to comment on something from ZEE5, but from an overall point of view, I'll tell you, like, industry is very much in on that side. Okay, if you see in recent times, in last decade or so, our banking system improvised humongously, because UPI, even there is a development which is going on for the centralized banking account, or the direct benefit transfer. From these things, our technology point of view, our banking improvised a lot. Okay, so even in recent times, if you see the credit card transaction you can do with the UPI, because recently UPI enabled those things. You can add your credit card details in your app like Google Pay or somewhere, okay, and you can pay via those, okay. So it is becoming very much famous, very much famous in recent time, and the industry is like really ready for these things, to accept these things, to improvise the customer experience. But yeah, compliance wise, banking is the industry which is highly regulated by the central banks and all, so they need to comply with this. But even RBI is working in that direction to get things ahead of the curve. And I think, from my personal understanding, I personally feel that we are already very ahead of the curve at least in the financial and banking sector. Okay.
Okay, sir. So that answers my question. Thank you.
Thanks. I think we already discussed about the banking here. So transportation also, it is also the same, like like manufacturing also, improvising the routes and efficiently managing the resources, delivering the products. So these things also using analytics extensively to stay ahead of the curve. Okay. So this is about the industry and everything. Okay. So journey point of view, from a data science, how to pursue and these things. Okay. So I think you guys are already in ages, but just it won't help you just in the ages, because you yourself need to work a lot on lot of things like projects. Okay. So I think from my personal experience, because I have been in the interview processes and to hiring teams. Okay. So now it is not just what you learned, but it is more to do with what you did. Okay. And what you're doing. Okay. So it is very much important to, you should work on the projects, various projects which are possible. Okay. No, not just academics, you should get into those hackathons everywhere. So guys, I'm keeping my video because there is, I think, power cut happened just recently and there is no light, so I'm just keeping my video. So yeah, so you need to work on these projects, get the data from Kaggle or anywhere. Even there are a lot of even government is started sharing their data with the I think, I don't remember the portal, but there is a portal for the data. So get the data, build your own models, and take participation in a hackathon, which will really help you to get the understanding how the different kinds of data is there, and how to work on what models you should build on these. And you can learn from your peers also. Okay. What algorithm they are using, what methods they are using. Okay. So another thing is that internship, like I mentioned you, my internship at Open Insight helped me a lot to understand about the industry, understand about the big data. I got the opportunity to work on the big data at very early stage. Okay. So internship really help you. So MOOCs, so there are lot of MOOCs available nowadays, Udacity, Udemy. Try to whatever, based on your based on your preference, based on your strength and weaknesses, you can go for this different MOOCs. Higher education, you are already in the PGP, so there is no need to stress upon those. So LinkedIn is one of the medium where I think as a job aspirant you should be there. I think Taranjit ma'am already mentioned you what is the importance of LinkedIn. So I must tell you, my last 2 jobs, I've got these jobs from LinkedIn only. Okay. So LinkedIn is a very good platform to connect with the like-minded people. Okay. For job and everything. So you should, and even it helps you to keep yourself updated, because we are in the industry which is moving very dynamically. Every day there are new things are coming up. People are coming up with the new ideas. Okay. They regularly post on these things on the LinkedIn. Okay. It will really help you to keep yourself updated from that point of view. Then the guest lecture and workshop is the same like this one. So try to attend as much as workshops and the guest lectures, which will really give you the idea to what is happening exactly in industry, how industry is moving, and it will really help you to keep yourself with the pace how industry is moving. Okay, sometimes academic lacks in academic lacks in that space. Okay, so these guest lectures and workshop will help you to keep yourself in the industry standards. Okay, so I think that's it from a presentation point of view. I think if you have any questions or anything on this, then we can discuss those now. Is that okay, Ritin?
Yes, very much fine. So we can open up with the questions. So now, if anybody would have any questions, guys, feel free to ask your question. You can write down your questions over chat box. We'll try to pick up those questions, what you're asking, and we'll put our best efforts to answer the questions, whatever you have got. So let me give you some pointers in which you can start thinking and scratching your head. Maybe that could be about the projects like Saurav has mentioned to you. It could be about the projects, what he had mentioned. It could be related to the kind of profile that Saurav he had been into data science and analytics vertical. What sort of requirement, what would be the company's expectations out there? So think around and revolve around these areas. You can ask your questions. And meanwhile, we have one question in YouTube. So Akshay is there. So he's asking one question, how to get the internship in big companies like Google. So since you mentioned about the approach that you always do follow and the projects that what helped you, Saurav, I believe you're listening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. I think this is very good question. Okay. So everyone tries to get their internship or even job in the big companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook. And yeah, so from technology point of view, these companies are very much ahead of everyone. Okay. And it is a gold mine for someone who aspired to learn these things. Okay. So getting an internship and these things, yeah. So I think for that you need to work a lot on your basics and these things. And at the same time, as I already mentioned, you need to work on lot of projects, even if it is academic. Okay, you need to work on these various projects which will clear your understandings. Okay, and it is not like and it is not just about the Google. Okay, everywhere, like nowadays, even small scale startups or something, companies are looking at your work which you did rather than the academics, which I mentioned you earlier also. Even and here as you mentioning the getting into Google, LinkedIn is one of the medium which will really help you, or you know the traditional ways, going on their site, applying for the internship and all those things. So rather than doing that, you can directly connect with the people on their mail or the LinkedIn to like ask for the internship. Okay, so this I think this will help you to get the internship at any places, not just Google. You can try connecting directly with the people which are responsible for this hiring over the LinkedIn, and you can ask them for this.
I believe Akshay, you might got the answer what Saurav had mentioned. And another question, like we have got our chat, Saurav, though that is Akshay is asking, Akshay Dharmik. So he's asking, what kind of projects and problems have you worked in your career in the industry?
Okay. So my career and industry experience point of view, I've worked major in the ML part. Okay, so I think one of the prime projects which I've worked on is customer segmentation, which is for ZEE5 also and Vietnam Bank also. So understanding different consumer segments present on our platform or present in our organization, and use these customer segments to engage with them with the right medium or the right things, with the even in ZEE5 things with the right content, in banking with the right products. Okay, so this is the kind of project we have worked on, where I've worked on. Okay, another kind some of the other projects are like propensity modeling or the churn. Okay,
So propensity modeling is very much famous in the banking or financial world. So where cross sell plays a major role, wherever the cross sell plays a major role, there this propensity modeling comes up. Okay, so
it's 6 o'clock.
Sorry. Hello. Ritin, is it good?
Yeah, it's fine. Please continue.
Okay. So propensity modeling is one thing. Then the churn thing which you mentioned, which we worked on in the G5. So it is also very important that from that point of view, that point only I mentioned you, okay, actionable is very important while doing any projects. Rather, I can compromise at my accuracy, but you need to have the actionables from your model. So these are some of the even it is not just about the model, because sometimes even your basic exploratory or the extensive analysis will really help the business to take the actions. Okay, so it is not just about the building a machine learning model or something, but it is also having the strong analytics from the data. Okay, exploratory data analysis, even if there is extensive data analytics thing. Okay, so that will also really help you. So these kind of projects or the utilities I have worked on in the industry.
Fair enough. So another question, you can also look at the questions over the chat box, Saurav. Okay. So Jayashree is asking, how do you decide the projects? Because questions are coming up. So the bombardment of the questions started coming up. So good to know, guys. So please ask more questions. So try to resolve any clarification you want from Saurav. So it's a brilliant opportunity for all of you. So try to think over the questions, whatever possible questions you can think of, we will try to answer these questions. So Jayashree is asking Saurav, so how do you decide the project topics? Like we have a lot of domains we can focus upon.
Okay. I think this is very much valid questions from a learner's point of view. Okay, so guys, let's keep it very simple, and I myself try to keep things as simple as possible. Okay, so whenever you like, I think Jayashree asked this question from her I think her last question, it looked like she is very much interested in the banking or the financial domain. Okay, so
yes,
and whatever industry you're focusing on, which interest you, I think you should choose projects from that particular domain. Okay, where even while targeting the companies in those industry, that makes those interviewers really interested in your projects also, where they can ask you what you exactly did in those projects. Okay, so I think this is very, from that point of view, it is very simple. Whatever the industry you are focusing on, you should work on that projects which are related to those industries. Okay, I think Jayashree is that is what you're asking, right?
Yes, sir. But sometimes what happens, like at this stage of time, I am very much interested into, like, let's say finance domain. But then at a later point of time, I am not pretty sure that, if I would be working with that domain only. Like, I cannot confine my domains of jobs at this point of time, right? So, I understand that you said, keeping things simple and all, but at, like, selecting a particular domain at this point of time and sticking to it throughout the course and everything, do you think that is, like, in your experience, like, how is the feasibility of that? Because sometimes we have to choose different domains just for the sake of the projects or just for the sake of some topics. So how exactly, like, do you think it is as feasible?
I think you can say this from a greedy point of view. I may be answering this from a greedy point of view, but I would say at this stage you should not be restricting yourself to any particular industry. Okay, because here thing is like you are here majorly for the learning right now. Okay, you are in the stage where learning is your preference, right? Which is
Yes, sir.
from a technology point of view. Of course, domain is important. Of course, domain is important, but there is lot ahead of you to learn from a technology point of view. Okay, and
Yes, sir.
and that should be the main priority at this stage. Once you are in the industry, you will learn ki, yaar, this is what is happening in the industry, this is what is happening here in industry. If you see, there are some things like in banking, you won't find that much ki big data products and those things are used there. Okay, sometimes I think recently banking started putting their data on the cloud. They every time they have an internal in-house infrastructure, so there you won't get the cloud exposure sometimes. Okay, these, from technology point of view, these things happen as there are like e-commerce companies or the OTT companies, they generate lot of data, so there you need to work on a big data systems like a Spark or Databricks. Okay, so from a technology point of view also, domain wise things change. So once you get into the industry, you'll understand what is exactly happening, what I am interested in and what I don't want to do, and based on that you can take call 1 or 2 years, 3 years down the line, I want to be in this domain and I want to work in this kind of technology. Okay, but another point is like, if you are really interested in one of the domain, then you can target in that direction also. You can focus on that direction, and this will really help you. Okay, means it is just like a maintaining the balance kind of thing, right? Here I'm trying to be horizontally available for all the industry, and here I'm vertically, or I'm going in the depth in particular direction only. So it is up to you where you want to be.
Hello.
Is that clear, Jayshree?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is
Guys,
Debashish.
I would request you, if you can turn your video on, that would be really brilliant, because it will give us a feel, and to Saurav as well, that we are certainly communicating with the live environment, not the dummies. Though you guys are certainly not dummies, but if it's possible, I would request to all of you, please turn on your videos. So at least Saurav will have a feel that, okay, he is interacting with the individuals, or maybe he will have a same the flashback that maybe a few years back he was just on that side of the table in which you guys are. Just a request, if it's possible, please turn your video and then ask your question. Please go ahead.
So yeah, my name is Debashish. So previously I have an experience of 4 years in banking industry. So I have two questions. Like, can you suggest us, because within 2 months, so we will complete our course. So can you give us some project ideas to go for? Like, and should I go with this banking industry, or should I change the domain? And the second question will be like, I want to know about the implementation of deep learning and NLP in this industry.
Okay. So Debashish, I think first thing, if I miss anything, so let me know. So first thing is like, change the domain or not. Okay, I from my experience, from my understanding, I would suggest you to like, you already have the domain knowledge of banking and financial and NBFCs, right? So it gives you the edge as compared to other data scientists, because you already worked in the industry, right? And now after this course, you have the understanding of the technology also, which gives you the edge as compared to others. So I would really like, and if you really like that domain, you worked on that domain, so I think definitely you should target in the companies in the same domain. Okay, that will really help you. Okay, because if you change domains point of view, and here I'm giving you very like practical answers. Okay, because if you change the domain, there may be chances that the next company may not consider your previous experience as a valid experience. Okay, that could reason, and that may hamper your salary expectation also. Okay, so it is good to sticking to the same domain if possible.
Yeah.
Okay. First thing is that. Second thing, you mentioned that projects. What are the projects you should look for this industry? I think and I think not even just banking, but a lot of industry, it is not just the project, but the data availability also. Okay, you should need to look at what kind of data you have available on the anywhere. Okay, that is also important. Without data, you can't work on these things. So I think, and from an academic point of view, a long time I worked on these things, so I may not be like updated on that data point of view, but I think there is on Kaggle, there is one of the data set like which we worked in the while I was in Aegis, we worked on this. I think bank lending club data set is there on Kaggle or somewhere.
Yeah, lending club and German credit card data.
Yeah. So so related to that field, you can take any data and try to build various models on that. Okay, so that is kind of from that side of. And third question you asked from a deep learning and deep learning point of view, right?
Deep learning and NLP implementation in banking industry.
Okay. I think yeah. So deep. I have my own reservations from deep learning and machine learning point of view. But sticking to your question, okay. So yeah, deep learning and NLP applications are there in the banking industry. So if you see, I've worked while working in the Shezatech, I've worked in the project like digital customer onboarding. Okay, nowadays if you have, any one of you have like opened a Zerodha account or somewhere, there you'll find that there is eKYC happens. They take your live video. You need to keep your some number. They give you some numbers and you need to keep that in your hand while after writing it somewhere, and these things. So yeah, so digital customer onboarding and these things. Even I think one of your seniors, which was in my batch, Pritesh, he worked in PNB MetLife. He worked on something which is related to this only, where you can directly ask questions to the machine and to the chatbot, or he'll or it will give you the answers to how to open an account, how to update my mobile number in the system. So these basic questions, there you work, there deep learning and NLP can help you. Okay, so these things are there in the industry, but the reservation point of view. But I personally think in industry there are like maybe 70% of the problems can be solved by machine learning thing. Okay, and on a deep learning part, what is exactly happening in the industry, the big giants like Amazon, Microsoft, Google are coming with the APIs. Okay, where you can directly connect with those APIs and start working on these things while for image processing or for anything, or NLP, getting a sentiment. So for that, they already have very huge data, right? And they are giving you these results at a very penny of the cost. Okay, so building your own model which won't even give you that much accuracy doesn't make sense for me. Okay, so from that point of view, I have my own reservations. So that is kind of a thing from a deep learning point of view. I think
thanks a lot. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir?
Yeah.
Hi, sir. My name is Sonia. I would like to ask you a question. So what are the challenges that you have faced in your professional career, and how did you overcome them?
Okay. From challenges point of view, from a technology point of view, or which point of view?
It's a technology point of view. Like,
Okay.
what did you learn here? And then what are the problems you faced, and how did that help you to think over solutions from them?
Okay. I rather than challenges, I'll mention you some of the learnings. Okay, so which came from the challenges. Okay, so data science, I think I have already mentioned, it is a very much evolving and dynamic field. Day by day, new things are coming. Okay, so here it is very much important where we need to learn, unlearn, and relearn. it is very much important in these times, because day by day everything is every new thing is coming up, and you need to keep up with the keep up to date with these things. Okay, so yesterday people were using some languages, now people are preferring something else. Okay, you need to shift from this to this, because recent times I'm extensively working on PySpark, which I've never used that much extensively. I just had an introduction while doing in Aegis, and I 1 year ago my company introduced the database, and I need to work on these things. Okay, so to you should be as flexible as possible, which is very much important in this industry. Okay, that is one thing. Second is that whenever you move from one domain to another domain, it is very much important to learn that domain also. Okay, so that point of view also, flexibility is needed. Okay, I think this is kind of a major learning, and I think from when you move from academics to the industry, it is also very much important to have the understanding of different technologies also. Okay, because today you may be working in some technology, tomorrow you may be working in some other technology, right? So you should be comfortable with these things as early as possible. Okay, I think, and deployment part is also very much important, which I think I don't know whether you really give importance that much to in your academics, but learning and understanding the deployment aspect, from a software engineering point of view, okay, this happens, this is software life cycle, this is the cron job or the notebooks, putting those notebooks in the production. So these things you need to really learn, and this could be, I'm not saying every time this is challenge, but this could be one of the challenge which you may face from when you move from academics to the industry. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Very nicely explained.
Thanks.
Okay, so I can take some questions. You can also see that Saurav from the chat box. So that question was asked by Soumya Patil, and she's asking that what kind of problems, though you have touched upon that question earlier as well, but she's asking what kind of problems you faced while implementing projects and while learning data science, and how did you overcome them? I mean, same kind of questions you already have, I believe, explained that, but still she wants to get the clarity upon.
Okay. So I think I guess major challenge which kind of slightly surprised me when I entered in the industry is the data quality. Okay, so I'll tell you some of the trends which are going on, where you also need to keep your mind this is clear, because what is happening in the industry sometimes companies start hiring data scientists before data engineers. Okay, so why it is very much challenge, because it is like data scientists are expected to work on the data. So data is available for them. They'll load that data wherever they want to, and then they start analysis, cleaning that data and everything. But in some of the companies, what is happening, there is no data pipelines or anything. Okay, which is majorly comes into data engineering part. Okay, this is kind of one of the challenge from a generalized industry point of view, where there are no data pipelines or anything. Okay, and industry is starting hiring data scientists, and it is expected from them only to build those pipelines and work on these things. Okay, so this is one of the challenges which is in the industry, and I'm talking this from a general point of view, guys. Okay, so this is one of the challenge which is there. So here what we did, so I think, of course, I already mentioned you, there is no easy way to go out of it. It is just key, you need to learn these things. Okay, so learn, unlearn, and relearn is the only formula. You need to learn these things, build those pipelines, because it is expected from you, and you can't halt your project. You can't halt your project just because there is no pipeline. You need to work on that, right? Because it is not like academics. In the industry, it is not expected ki you should just complaining about this. So you need to we build those pipelines whenever it is needed, and we worked on that. So that is kind of a major challenge which I'm hearing from an industry point of view whenever I interact with my peers or my friends.
Hi, this is Soumya. Yeah, like you said that data engineer and data scientist, like what is the difference? Like what is the main role of data engineering and data engineers and data scientists?
I think, yeah. So what's the difference? So data, so it is very thin difference between data engineer and data scientist sometimes. Okay, from an industry point of view, it is, from an academic point of view, it is different. But thing is that data engineers are the people who majorly focuses on the capturing, managing these data and making it available to the data analyst, data scientist, or business analytics people who can consume this data easily and start working on those analytics part of it. Okay, and data engineers are the people, sometimes they also need to take care of the software engineering part of the data science, means deploying and those things. But as a data scientist, okay, sometimes it is expected to you should be working with data engineers. Sometimes you need to work on data engineering stuff. Okay, if there are there is a data engineer team, you need to work with them. What are the things you need to capture, how things should be there, how things should be placed there, because it is, at the end of the day, data scientists are the people who are going to consume these things, right?
Okay.
So let's take let's take a example. So whenever you open some Amazon or Flipkart app, okay, and you want to know, okay, how many people clicked on this particular add to cart button, or how many people came onto my ordered page. Okay, I want to look at those numbers and how this journey is panning out. So you need to sit with data engineers and say, "Yaar, I need these data points." Okay, then data engineers will work with software engineers. Even they sit with software engineer and implement those things, implement those pipelines, how to capture, where to dump that data, and how to make it available to data scientists. Okay, and then data scientists will start to consume this thing. Okay, so data engineers are the people who mainly take care from algorithm, not algorithm, from software engineering and data availability point of view. And data scientists are the people who sometimes work on those things also, but majority focus on the analysis and building model part of it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Saurabh, we have another question on the same line. Mahesh is asking, how to start or select the domains to work in the industry. He also adds upon, you can also see that over the chat.
Yeah.
Mentioned, like, so I'll be coming then. Akash, your question, I believe you are still with us. So, okay, let me finish that question first. For freshers in data science industry, what do you suggest from your own experience, sort of?
So, guys, I think it is. I think I've already mentioned you while discussing with Jayashree also. It is totally up to you. If you really want to be in any specific domain, then you should focus on that domain and go as much deeper as possible in that particular domain. But in that case, there is a trade-off. Understand, there is one trade-off. If you go in that specific direction, you may need to struggle sometimes more to get into that particular domain only, because you are focusing on that, right? But if you keep your options open and work on a different project across the different domains. So it will really help you to pursue your job, like go for the different job opportunity in different domain, because at this stage it is very much important for you to get more understanding from a technology point of view rather than a domain point of view. Okay, domain is also of course it is important, but your first priority should be technology. Then it comes to domain, and 1 or 2 3 years down the line you will understand, yeah, this is what I'm interested in, this is what I don't want to be in. So based on that you can take your call once you are in the industry. But from this point of view, I don't think personally it is very good idea to get into any specific domain.
All right. So one more question we have from Akash. So he's asking that I have, what should we choose? So he might be one, the career enthusiast, I believe, or career aspirant in data science. So he's asking that what should we choose between the higher education and job after graduation? What will give us the more opportunity? Whether one should take a route to take a job, then look forward for the studies, or maybe after graduation, he would look forward to acquire these skills in those disruptive areas of the exponential technologies, and then he should bang on to the industry. Over to you, sir.
Okay. I think this is kind of a question where I'm also sometimes get a bit confused. Okay. So, but after graduation, taking a job, work for some years, and understand what are the challenges, what are the things happening in the industry. Okay, which are the gray areas where you can focus on, which are interested for you, where you like it makes interest. It is very much where you are very much interested, and then going for the higher education in the same field. It is kind of an ideal way you can do it. Okay, but here some of the things are from your personal point of view. If you're like if you're not really interested for going higher education and focusing on job, it is very much up to you. But from in ideal way, it is really much very much kind of a thing ki, you should after graduation you should get into the job, understand these things, and get for the higher education. And I think one more thing he asked, I think I'm missing anything. Akash, am I missing anything, or that was your question?
So that was only his question. So so earlier he asked another question, how to get the internship in big MNCs like Google and Amazon. So that was his question.
We already discussed that, right?
Yeah, we have already discussed that. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you can take another question.
Hello.
Yes, so another question that we can take from Parvesh.
Guys, can you please go on the mute? I'm not able to.
Manohar, could you please unmute your microphone?
1 2 3 4 चौथे पे click.
Okay, so I can take a question from Parvesh. You can also read it out, Saurav. So he is asking, it's in the chat itself, what are the various recruitment process in IT companies as a fresher, which path we should follow to get placed in good companies? So I'll give you summarize that question. So he might be asking from the expert advice from you, because you are sitting on that side and you also do recruit the individuals. So he would be looking forward to get some takeaways. So being a fresher or into the data science industry, so what measures one should take, or what are the various recruitment process so that they can prepare themselves well for tomorrow when the companies would be coming up, recruiting them. So what would be the takeaway you would like to give them? Sort of.
Okay.
Yes, sir, that was my question. Thank you very much for elaborating.
Yes.
Okay. So
yeah,
I think it is not just a Parvesh question. I think everyone must be having these how to get into the industry as a fresher, or if you are having any previous experience. Okay. So I think while in whatever the time I spend in the industry, okay, I've been a part of recruitment teams. I've been a part of lateral hiring and these things. Okay. So one thing I've mentioned you earlier also, I think three times I mentioned you, and again I'll repeat this. Okay. First thing is that what kind of work which you did or what you are doing in your academics. Okay. What kind of projects you are doing. Okay. What are the things you developed, what things, because nowadays if you see there are plenty of the infrastructure which is readily available for you, even if you build some projects. I've in recent times I've seen some of the very interesting projects which freshers or engineering student posted on their LinkedIn. Okay, they have created very good websites or something and deployed their machine learning models which they created. Okay. So I think in my academics also I've did this project, and that particular projects which I built it for, like based on the various scores, like 10 12 scores and the college background. It was the model which was suggesting ki what could be your package you can be offered, or the companies can use to offer a package to those students based on their the academics and these scores. Okay, and we I deployed that model, and I showcased, and I think one or two HR, and I think because of AGs I got the opportunity to, I think, showcase that project in I think Graham Bell Awards, and one of the two HR people came to understand what exactly we did, and they were like ready to hire me. Okay, so from a fresher point of view, it is very much important. You should showcase your skills as much as possible through your LinkedIn, through your social media channels, through your CV, through your whatever the channels it is there, even this platform. Okay, who knows, the person who is giving you the lecture or something may be the recruiter for you next day. Okay, so it is very much important for you to work on these projects or the technologies, these things, and showcase that I did this, deploy those models. There are various websites or the platforms where you can deploy those models and productionize those and showcase those to people. Use this. So I think recently one of my friend created one of the model where if you put your old cars information, it will give you how much price how much price you will get for this old car, second-hand car. Okay, you can, and data is readily available with you. You can build those models and showcase that thing. Second thing is that rather than focusing some of the very huge thing, you should focus mainly on the basics. Go as much as possible in depth for the basic, because whenever you go for the interview, it is not just like it is majority times it happens people ask questions on your basic, the work which you did, rather than going for anything, because data science very huge, very vast field. I mentioned you earlier also. Okay, and it is totally up to you how to restrict your interviewer to ask questions from that particular set of projects or things only, which will where you will be very comfortable and confident to answer that, right? So it is totally up to you how to restrict and your interviewer. Okay, so focus on your projects where you are confident, put those in the block letter, or focus on that part in your CV, showcase those on social media. There are various things, guys, you can do for this. So I've mentioned you some of the things. There could be something which, like Taranjit ma'am from AG, they'll also help you to work on these things. So these could be some of the things which you can work as a fresher to get a job in the industry.
I hope, Parvesh, you got your answer.
Yes, exactly.
Gaurav, why not you explain your question, because you have put two questions. So we have another question you can also see, sort of, on the screen.
Yeah.
So he is asking, let me read it out so that other individuals who are logging through other portals, they can also have an idea. So be
Yeah.
interesting.
See, the thing
Yes,
is, can I speak?
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Hi. Hi, Saurabh. This is
Hi.
Gaurav here. Yeah. So it's quite a rhyming. So see, the thing is, I'm from a non-technical background and having an experience of around 18 plus years, and basically I am a associate director in a luggage brand. Okay. So the thing is, I just wanted to shift my focus from designing to the technical part of a business called the data science, where I can manage and the see data and the things what the analyze data and do certain kind of stuff. So so is it advisable that I should move away from my industry to some other industry, or to stick to the retail industries or marketplaces like Tata Click or Amazon or Flipkart per se?
Okay. So I think I'll call you sir, as you are kind of a very much experienced person as compared to me. Okay, and it is kind of honor to me to answer your question, and I'll try to answer from whatever the understanding I have from an industry and academic point of view. Okay, so sir, I think one of your, I think, I don't remember, Debashish asked this question. He is also having 4 years experience in the banking industry and all. Okay, here 2-3 things which you need to really take care of. Okay, first, and where you may need to compromise somewhere. Okay, and I'm really I want to be really practical with these things, sir. Okay, first thing is that you already have experience in some domain, right, where you spent 18 years, right? And you know I think A to Z of this industry from 18 years point of view, and this is your age now. You in this last 1 year or 9 months, whatever it is, you learn the technology part of you, and you are in the position to address some of the business problems which are there in this industry with the technology aspect of you, right, like churn. Okay, churn, I'll take one of the example. I don't know from which industry you belong to take to understand what are the right actions we can take to avoid that particular churn, right? Churn was the pain area, and data science came at us as a solution. Okay, in the same way, you can identify these areas in the industry where you worked on. Okay, and try to add your last 1 year experience to solve those problems, industry problems. That could be one of the thing. Second is like changing the domain. So in this particular situation, you can say that it is my personal view. I won't suggest you to change your domain, because if you would like to change the domain, yeah, it is good. You will get the new learning experience. You will get the new field working in some other industry. But it is more, it is somewhere from a maybe your designation or the salary point of view, you may need to compromise somewhere. Okay, so it is totally up to you how you want to pursue this. Okay, because we are in the world where it is not just about the work or these things, because we need to take care of lot of things. Okay, so from that point of view, I think, sir, if you want, we can connect after this call, where I can discuss these things very freely.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Saurav. So apart from that, anybody would have any more questions so that I can ask these questions to Saurav? Anybody would have any questions? So feel free to ask any questions if you have in your mind. So that was a very good Q&A that we have seen so far. And you have answered them very well, Saurav. I really appreciate that. And so one out of curiosity, I'm asking that question. I believe most of you would be looking forward for that question. So what is your day like? I mean, sort of So as a data scientist, you have been working earlier, I believe you were with ShareStack. Before that, you were with Open Insights, then with Z5. So how your day starts? So, and what sort of challenges you face every day? So what sort of, whether it is challenging, you find some opportunities out there every day. So how it starts and how it ends.
Okay.
So what your daily routine as a data scientist?
I think in a one line, if you say every day start with the new challenge. Okay, if you're really the person who likes the challenges, trying to solve, trying to find those solutions around those challenges, it is the data science is the field for you, because every day with new data, with new business problem, new challenges comes with that. Okay, and solving those challenges, finding those solutions gives you that immense, what we can say, happiness once you like solve this problem, and business sees that insight, and what they mentioned, this will really help you, this will really help me to avoid that, or this will really help me to engage with the customer, and that feeling it gives you the immense happiness. So contributing somewhere in the business to like help business to grow. So and data science, now data science is playing a very pivotal role in the business nowadays, because there is nothing in the business nowadays can't move without the data. Because as I mentioned you from Sir Edward Deming's quote, because now everyone is asking data to take the actions. Okay, whenever I want to change this button from this, rather than just naming, like add to cart, to add to your order. So these small changes may play a huge role in your product or somewhere. So from that small thing point of view, it is very much important. Data science is playing very vital role in these things. Okay, and these comes with these own challenges. If you are really interested in solving those challenges, work on a different tools, work on a different data, understand that data, helping the business, understanding the business, how businesses using that insights, how this data is captured, what are the changes you want to capture that data. So it is a kind of a 360 view where you need to work on with the different stakeholder in the business, at the same time solving those challenges from these aspects. So this is what data science is.
Okay, fair enough. Another point, if it's possible, you have got the electricity back at your home, so please turn on your video if possible, Saurabh. So
I think
now, yeah. So
Nitin,
now,
I don't think so, because the electricity is still
no problem. It's fine. It's fine. So another point. So last, maybe we will be going to wind up this session in another few minutes. So before you go, and though you will be engaged with us for so long, and you will be there, I mean, for the young guns, the budding data scientists who are listening to you on that side of the table. Again, I'm repeating that sentence and that word. So what would be your takeaway from the as an expert advice? So which are the areas these young guns, or maybe these data science aspirants who are doing this program and who are listening and watching you from the other channels as well, what would be your takeaway coming from the industry? So what are the areas in which these individuals, I mean the entire participants, they have to give more focus upon, so that they will be absolutely become go-getter, and the industries, they will pick them up in one flick, and on which areas they have to brush up more. And so that would be a learning for them, that they will take that as a takeaway with them. So what would be your, so, and what are the hottest skill that they have to typically majorly focus upon? Though you have already mentioned they have to learn everything, whatever is come to their way, because it's a very exponential learning curve is there. So, but still, this is what I want to know from you.
Yeah. So I think Ritin, while like over the discussion, we discussed these things in a in a lot. Okay, what should be the way and where they need to focus. I'll again repeat this briefly while taking those interview and those things where we focus on. First thing which I'm again repeating is the basics. Okay, you need to be very strong on your basic. It is like how these algorithms are implemented, what are the things are used, how things are happening, how this particular k value or anything, how this particular accuracy is coming, what are the things are impacting our target. So these basic things you need to be clear, and it clear in as much as depth as possible. Okay, that is the main thing. Second thing is like work, what you different projects you work on. That is really much important, because no one focuses nowadays, no one focus on your just on academics. It is majority on your work. Okay, so these two things, and three things like how much updated you are. So keep yourself updated. Okay, so keep up so keep yourself updated, how industry is working, how these things are going, how industry is using these things. Okay, where they are using these things. Keep yourself keep your minds open, how this thing be a curious one, how this thing is happening, why like this, how this Facebook suggestion or the video YouTube suggestion is recommendation is working. Okay, what are different algorithms they are using. If you just Google it, or just be a curious point that of view, because nowadays data science, machine learning, it is around you only. Okay, even the face recognition which is happening on your mobile, or the fingerprint recognition is happening, it is also data science, machine learning, deep learning only. Okay, so keep yourself open minded, be curious, understand how this is working. If you're not able to get into the very details of it, don't worry, you'll learn that slowly, but you should know you should at least know how basic things are working there. Okay, so these are some of the parts. I think focus point of view, you should as much as possible. So the basic machine learning algorithms like logistic, linear, decision tree, random forest, you should focus more on these basic things rather than going for something very high fundu thing like XGBoost or something. Once you clear with these basics, then you can easily learn these things whenever it is needed, and keep yourself open-minded, guys, and keep your options open, because I have already mentioned you, it is at your level, it is really much important to keep your options as much as open rather than restricting those or closing those options. Okay, so and be flexible as much as possible, because you may be really much comfortable with R right now, but industry may be asking for Python. Okay, so it could be the vice versa thing also. So from that point of view, it is not just what do you know, okay, but it also has to do with how flexible you are to go from this particular technology to another technology, because at the end of the day, or the basic of these things is the same, right? It is just things are changing little bit here or there, right? Because implementation of linear regression is same even in R, even in Python. It is just like there are some changes in parameter or implementation point of view, right? So be flexible as much as possible, be ready for learn, unlearn, relearn. That is the simple mantra to stay ahead of the curve and stay alive in the industry.
Very, very well said, Saurav. It was really indeed a pleasure. Always, it's a pleasure for us to have you on board with us, and being a proud alumni of Aegis. So it's always wonderful to have a conversation. And I believe the individuals out there, the participants who are the budding data scientists and the budding future leaders, so they might have got the insights that what is the company's perspective on which areas that you have to brush up on your toes, So, and I would like to mention to all of you who are watching this session, I mean the participants and other individuals. So Saurabh will be with us, will be associated with us for other activities as well. So we will soon bother you again, Saurabh, and to be on board again and to give certain insights about the projects and other engagements, I believe, that we have discussed. So it was really wonderful talking to you, and thank you for this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful session. And so any last question we can take or pick up if anybody would have last closing point, or else it was really wonderful, Saurabh. Thank you so much for being with us for this session, and all the very best to all of you for your future endeavors, and looking forward to have you again on any other sessions, Saurabh, with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saurabh, for sharing your perspective about the projects, the focus area, all the questions answered very simple, beautifully, and with a personal experience. I'm sure our enthusiastic students will know now what to inculcate in their studies. Okay. So on behalf of Team Aegis, would like to thank you once again and looking forward for more sessions with you. And for the participants, if you have still more queries, you can connect with Saurabh on LinkedIn. Okay. And stay tuned with on YouTube Aegis Live. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.